All righty. Welcome, everybody, to today's preview of the upcoming Social Security and Medicare workshop. This is a 4-day virtual workshop that is running from May 8th through the 11th. And if you want to go ahead and learn more information, about the workshop, or to go ahead and sign up, you can do so at horsesmouth.com/ssvirtual. For those of you with us in Zoom, I'll go ahead and put that in chat, and those watching the live stream can find it in the description beneath the video player. In today's preview, Elaine Floyd, the leader of the workshop, is joining Horse's Mouth's editor-in-chief, Sean Bailey, to talk about what she'll be covering during the first couple of sessions of the workshop and why it matters for advisors and their clients. And that includes session 1, introduction to Social Security, and session 2, coordinating auxiliary benefits and claiming strategies. So Sean, I'll go ahead and hand things over to you.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks, everyone, for being here or listening later on. We appreciate it. Elaine, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Before we get started, Elaine, I just wanted to congratulate you because the Savvy Social Security Planning software suite has been ranked top rated by advisors. I think it's our second year in a row. And Doug Pierce has just put a link in the chat box for anybody who is seeing this. You can go to the horsesmouth.com website and just see a little, little report on the release of the studies that showed that, we were ranked number 1. So sometimes you got to toot your own horn in this business, and we're tooting our horn. Elaine, we started this program back in 2008. You cobbled together an Excel spreadsheet to help advisors with this, and that kicked off a whole industry. And so here we are all these years later, and we have now this finely fine-tuned software suite, and it's going to get even better with a new release later in the year, I think. And so congratulations to you. So
Thank you.
We're on the live stream here. This isn't a full webinar. We're not pushing any slides. We're going to run through 5 questions. And Elaine, my first question for you today is a simple one. How does having a deep understanding of Social Security benefits and claiming strategies enable financial advisors to better serve their clients' long-term financial planning needs? Why is it so important?
Did ChatGPT write that question, Sean? So do you want to give away what we just talked about? Oh,
these questions came from ChatGPT,
So
anyway, they're vetted by us.
Right. So anyway,
you have to know what to write to get the good kind of questions.
Exactly. Just to fill everybody in, just for fun, just before this promo video started, Sean went to ChatGPT and put in something about, why do financial advisors how can financial advisors benefit from counseling their clients on Social Security, something like that. And then ChatGPT comes back with these beautifully worded questions. And I said, I think they read our material because they were like so perfect. Anyway, they're a little bit wordy for me. I would just like to condense the question down to, how can financial advisors benefit from, is that what you said?
Yeah, that's right. How does having a deep understanding of the claiming strategies, the benefits of the claiming strategies, help them better serve their clients?
Yeah. Okay. So just quick background. I was a financial advisor in the 1980s, and I was advising baby boomers. I was a boomer, leading edge baby boomer myself. And our advice to baby boomers at the time was, do not count on Social Security. It probably won't be there for you, right? Well, it turned out to be, pretty good advice because it incentivized people to save for their own retirement. But then, as people approached their 60s, specifically as I got older and I turned 62 and I started thinking about Social Security, I realized, wait, it's here for us after all. The system has not gone broke, and it's here, and it's very significant benefit. And it's more than people realize. It's you can determine the amount of your benefit based on when you start it. And there is a lot more involved in understanding the total benefits that you receive over your lifetime. In other words, that decision about whether to claim at, say, at 62 or 70 doesn't make a difference of just a few $100s a month in your income. It can make a difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. And that's when that realization is what prompted me to create these little wonky Excel sheets to try to figure this out. Okay, if you start it here and the cost of living adjustments are such and such, how much will you have received over your lifetime? And that was kind of the basis of our whole program and the calculators.
Right. Yeah. So lifetime benefits. Obviously.
Lifetime benefits. Right.
Lifetime benefits, an important thing.
Yeah.
Good. And so, yeah, by the way, this, I was noticing somebody who's fashioning herself as a personal finance expert for Gen Z on LinkedIn recently. And, she's going with this old thing of, well, Social Security probably isn't going to be there for you.
Yep.
And, I heard that myself when I entered the workplace in the early 1980s. I would get these like direct mail newsletters from some investment person who was, trying to, it was a Ponzi scheme and it's communism and it's not going to be there, or whatever, some crazy stuff like that. And, it just never goes away. That nonsense just never, ever goes away.
We are paying into the system. 6.2% of our earnings come out of our paycheck directly and go into the Social Security system. And so as long as we're paying into the system, it's not going to stop,
Right. So anyway, let's move on to common misconceptions advisors have, or gaps they have in terms of Social Security and working with things their clients need to do. What are the blind spots do you find that advisors often have? Or
when we came out with our program in 2009 and we presented it as a pretty valuable add-on to what financial advisors were already doing. The idea is that baby boomers most people start the retirement planning process with Social Security. They want to know how much are they going to get from Social Security before they start looking at their other assets. Now, financial advisors tend to be focused on the IRAs, the assets, because that's their job, really, right? So they're coming from that end. Baby boomers are coming from the Social Security side. And so it really behooves financial advisors to kind of get into that mindset of the baby boomer, because they start with Social Security. And so the resistance that we came up against among financial advisors was, it's not that complicated, or the other side of it, it's too complicated and for us to worry about. Another thing was, the dollar amounts are, too small to worry about. And let me just say, they used to be, the average benefit today is around $1,500, $1,600. But high earning clients, maximum earners who delay their benefit to age 70, they're getting over $4,500 a month. And so and you have, two high earning spouses, that's a significant amount of money. So, that's another one of the myths that, the dollar amount is not worth worrying about.
I remember when we first started the program back in 2008, there were some advisors who were like, my high net worth clients, they're not going to be interested in knowing about Social Security. They just won't care. Yeah, that went away pretty quickly because they discovered that their best clients wanted to know very much about it because their best clients have paid attention to earning and saving their entire career. And so, they're not just going to lick it off like it's nothing, even if it is something that they end up losing half their benefit to the IRMA surcharges or whatever.
Right. Well, and the thing is that these high net worth clients, one of the ways they got there is they're paying attention to every dollar and also very tax savvy. They really want to save tax dollars wherever they can. Anytime that they can keep a dollar that the government doesn't get, they're happy. And so Social Security kind of falls into that category. If they can get more out of the government via Social Security, they're happy. So they're all about the optimization strategies.
Yeah, for sure. How about I have one in my own, but see if you can come up with one off the top of your head. And that is an example of how proper guidance on the claiming strategy made a big difference in a client's overall, retirement income.
Well, I mean, so one of the things has to do with claiming age, and this is really huge. Most people tend to claim early instead of delaying. And,
Right.
there's problems with those words, early and delay. We're trying to use different words, penalty if you claim early and bonus if you claim later. So that's sort of the more straightforward. It's very straightforward. And of course, our calculators can help solve for that,
Right. Right.
depending on claiming age, shows you what lifetime benefits would be. The more sophisticated part of this, though, and this is what we talk about in the workshop, and kind of getting back to the reasons why we're encouraging financial advisors to come to our workshop and really get schooled in all of the intricacies of Social Security, has to do with auxiliary benefits and switching from one benefit to another, using the start, stop, start strategy. Maybe somebody claimed early, they regret it, and they can be advised to then suspend their benefit, build delayed credits, resume it at 70. So it's little tricks like that that are very, very significant. And, again, our calculators show they quantify,
Right.
the results of these strategies.
In a very, graphical way that's easy
Right,
to share with clients.
right.
Yeah. And of course, there are those other areas like a divorce or survivor. Can you talk a little bit about that? A lot of advisors have no idea, and yet they've got clients, who it's totally relevant to, but no, the clients don't realize it's relevant. The advisor doesn't realize it's relevant.
That's right.
What's
That's right.
what's going
We've
on
seen
there?
so many cases where an advisor alerted a client to a benefit that they didn't even know they were entitled to. And divorced spouse benefits are an example of that. Now, those get a little tricky. A lot of, we'll call it women who are divorced, don't qualify for a divorced spouse benefit because their own benefit is more than half of the ex's. And, because say they were divorced early, they've been working, they've developed their own earnings record and their own Social Security benefit. But the trick comes if that ex dies. Now she becomes entitled to a divorced spouse survivor benefit, and that is higher a lot of times than her own benefit. And this is the kind of thing that a person, Social Security is not going to notify her when her
Right.
ex dies. And she may not even know, if she's not in touch. And that's why we're encouraging everybody to keep tabs on the exes, because when they die, that Social Security is gonna come into play there. So again, this is the calculators can quantify it, but these auxiliary benefits or these claiming strategies, these little nuances, they can make a huge difference.
Right. And I think another thing that people don't realize is it's not really one and done when it comes to Social Security.
Right.
You have created something called a Social Security audit.
Yep.
And why should an advisor who thinks clients have already claimed or whatever, or knows they've claimed, what is this thing about a Social Security audit? How does that work, and why is it important?
It's a checklist to make sure that clients are getting everything that they're entitled to. An example might be, and we've had many cases of this actually, where an advisor starts working with a couple in, let's say, their 80s, and the husband's benefit is way more than twice the wife's benefit. And come to find out, she never went back for her spousal benefit after he claimed. And so this is an extremely common situation.
Right.
And and they didn't know, they wouldn't have known. So,
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, so that's, and the other aspect of it is, yeah, I guess the audit surfaces things that happen if you talk with your client when they're 62 and they've already claimed, and then, you're having a review of what's going on, and you don't go through the checklist 5 years later when they're 67. And then that's when, you ask the question about, has a former spouse died or blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
right.
oh, bingo, the lights go off. And,
Right.
and, I remember I always love to tell this story of the Michael Egan, of financial advisor in the Washington, D.C. metro area, had a client who was she was just barely getting by in retirement. And she'd been married more than 10 years, a long, long time ago. And I think she was getting like $700-800 a month. It was under 1,000. And Michael was CFP and her advisor. And he went to he became a member of the Savvy Social Security Planning Program. And actually, he tells this story when he does presentations to his clients, because he says, I didn't even know this. What didn't he know? He didn't know to even ask her if she had been previously married and how long it was. Well, anyway, when he learned that through you, then he went back and talked to her. Yeah, she'd been married to, Daddy Warbucks a long time ago, and he was now dead. And she went from like $800 or $900 a month to like $2,300-2,400 a month. And her life changed.
Yeah.
Because that advisor had the insight that he learned in our program that caused him to ask the client and inquire a little deeply. And now that's one of the reasons you created the Social Security audit, to help advisors understand that it's not really one and done.
Right.
Right. It's long period of time, things can change even after you've claimed. So
that's exactly right. And our calculators do, like, we have a divorce planning calculator where it does allow you to put in, the primary insurance amount for the client and the ex, their ages. And as I said, a lot of times it will show that the divorced spouse benefit is not available because her own benefit is too high. But then you put in the life expectancy of the ex, and the calculator will show that survivor benefit kicking in 20, 30 years, whatever it is. And so we can actually quantify that.
And of course, the boomers set records on all sorts of things. And, one of them was divorce. And so,
yes.
So
a number of marriages.
Number of marriages. And so
and that's another thing, question comes up, the first husband died, the second marriage, say, ended in divorce. He was a lower earner. Can she go back and claim on the first husband? And so there are all kinds of questions come up about that. Yeah.
Should turn this thing into a game show, a reality TV.
I know, right?
Boomer Social Security claiming.
Right.
Anyway, so, one of the great things about you and the program is that, we were the first out of the gate back in 2008. And now, oh my God, it's 2023. It's been a long time, Elaine, but it's gone very quickly. And the landscape has changed. What have you seen over the last, since 2008 to the current? How has the landscape of Social Security evolved in a way that's, important to advisors to understand?
Honestly, I think the better question is to look at what stayed the same.
Okay.
Because, we came out with the program when the oldest baby boomers were turning 62. And here it is these many years later, and people are still turning 62, and people are still like coming into that Social Security claiming age. And it's still, so, I mean, when it comes
so it's still totally relevant. But on that issue of 62, we've actually seen more people delaying.
Yes, absolutely.
One example?
We have seen that. I think we're having an impact, not as much as we think we should, but we are having an impact there. But yeah, so it's just like it will, and it's going to keep going. It's going to keep going. And Gen X is now in their 50s, mid to late 50s, and they're going to be coming up soon. And they've also been thinking Social Security wasn't going to be there for them, but guess what? It will be, and they're going to need the same, kind of counseling and advice that boomers have been needing all these years.
So, we're in this new inflationary period, which hopefully will subside soon, but that has had an impact on COLAs, right?
Yes.
I want you to talk about how the landscape of COLAs, what you've seen from 2008 to here in terms of the direction it's gone.
Yeah. So I've seen since we've been doing this, I've seen the COLAs all over the place, ranging from, and if you look at the history of COLA table going back to 1981, the COLA was 14%. if you remember when interest rates were in double digits then. And then, of course, it dropped from there. And there have been 0 years, and there have been, it's just been kind of all over the place. So the latest COLA was 8.7%. That was great. The next COLA, I don't know, could be around 5. We're seeing inflation drop a little bit, but not a lot. The thing that I want to caution advisors against, though, is using too high a COLA. Our default COLA in our calculators is 2%. We think that's reasonable because over a period of time, it's likely to average that. And you don't want to set up very high expectations for clients. The thing is, Social Security is a wonderful source of income in retirement, but it's not going to be enough to cover somebody's entire expenses. And so we just want to make sure that clients understand that Social Security replaces a portion of their income. And then they're going to need to go on, once they get the Social Security part figured out and get that established, how are they going to, calibrate their withdrawals from their retirement accounts, and what other income sources are they going to be looking at? And that's really the kind of the key in our whole training program, is that it, number one, helps advisors bring in new business because people are interested in Social Security and want to learn about it. It helps them better serve their clients because they have all of this knowledge. And then it also helps them go on to create a more, a complete retirement income plan for them.
Right, right. And, if there are any Gen X advisors out there who've, not gotten into Social Security yet, I just want to say that, one thing we've seen since 2008 is there are some advisors who absolutely have built, gigantic practices by leading with Social Security and Medicare as their go-to market, education marketing, financial educator positioning in their community, putting on events and all sorts of different venues, all sorts of different approaches, live and in person or virtual. It continues to be the gateway topic that attracts pre-retirees who are starting to realize, hey, I need to, get some better advice. I'm coming into the final few years of working. I need to really get more organized. So they start responding to marketing and advertising for these educational events. They come out, and when you know this material well, and you can have a good system in place, and your team is supporting you, we see advisors, it's all a matter of your level of commitment, but I see advisors do 5 million, 10, 15, 20 million or more in new AUM per year, just by going out and educating the public and having 2 or 3 campaigns per year. I mean, it depends on, what you're shooting for, but it is an amazing opportunity. And, for those Gen X advisors and younger who are now starting to think, okay, for the final third portion of my career, the second half of my career, I still have my own personal goals, wanting to grow my business, whatever the case may be. If you've not availed yourself of getting schooled up on Social Security and Medicare, we should say. Why don't we just talk about Medicare for 1 second too? But anyway, it's a huge opportunity. But let's close out by you just talking a little tiny bit about the importance of Medicare and how it fits with Social Security and how that all fits into people's, retirement plans.
So, okay, about a 3-hour lesson in about 1
Just give us
minute.
the highlights. I mean,
But so, in a nutshell, people are having trouble transitioning from employer insurance to Medicare. They don't know when they should do it. They don't know when they can do it. They don't know if they should do it. They don't know when they have to do it. I call it can, should, or must enroll in Medicare. There are rules around it. And people tend not to think about health insurance until right up till just before they retire. And then they go, oh, now what? I guess I'm going to need new insurance now. Anyway, it's huge. And we spend one whole 3-hour session at the workshop talking about Medicare and all that is involved there.
Okay. Well, Elaine, thanks so much. And we want to remind people this is a virtual workshop, May 8th to the 11th. And on the 11th, I'll be there and we'll be talking about all this business development aspects of the program. And that's always fun. And we have a bunch of new stuff coming up as well. So everybody, thanks for being with us today. Elaine, great seeing you. Have a great weekend, everyone. And we'll see you again soon.